Welcome back to Cask and Point. Today we're going to be reviewing Dettling's oldest product to date and perhaps its best ever, the Dettling Gold Top that just released in 2025. Now Dettling is out of Alabama and they're known for having very powerful whiskeys. They're very leather forward, they're very oak forward, they tend to give a really strong coffee note on them, and while they're only about 5 years and about 115 proof typically, they're drinking much older than that, much more potent than that 115 proof, so people really like them. And just looking at the color on these whiskeys, my god, I mean, they look red. They look like they've been in a barrel for 15 years with that kind of color. So really, really exciting here today. And about once a year, they release something called their Gold Top. This Gold Top is meant to signal a truly exceptional barrel. That Seth Dettling, the guy that runs Dettling, has tried all of his barrels and he picks out just his absolute favorite one, and it's usually going to yield between 100 and 200 bottles, and that is his special Gold Top. And I'll put a photo on your screen now, but he's given a tons of tasting notes, and they're really interesting. I mean, there's chocolate in there, there's strawberries in there, there's all these other different notes, but my favorite is the very last line of it, which is, if you're at all hesitant about this, if you're not really sure, don't buy this product. Go and buy one of our other products. This is not for Dettling newbies, this is not for Dettling scrubs, this is for the people that truly love my whiskey, and this is truly going to be it at its truly exceptional character. And so today we're going to be trying that Dettling Gold Top, and we're going to put it up against two much more innocent offerings. So we have three pretty cool offerings here today to try. So on the leftmost here, in the first glass, I have a good old 52-month, 117 proof. Really nothing at all special to it. I just thought it's the youngest sample that I have of Dettling. I thought it would be a good palate warmer. I think, we'll try it. We'll see what we think. Then we're going to move on to the new Era Bourbon Club pick. Now, this is 62 months. This is 116.5 proof. I do have a bottle of this, and I've heard it's incredible. And while it may not compare to the Gold Top, I heard it's really, really good. And considering this bottle was $100 and the Gold Top was $250, I'm hoping it gives some pretty good competition. And then of course at the end here, last we'll be trying the Gold Top, 82 months old, 114.1 proof I believe, so absolutely, utterly amazing. And 82 months, it's kind of funny hearing months for whiskey. Typically we think of years in whiskey, so 82 months actually isn't that old. It's just shy of 7 years old. So when people hear 6-year-old whiskey from Alabama, they're not really thinking anything too much of it, but supposedly it's amazing. I mean, this sold out incredibly quickly at $250, and it was recently marked up a lot because Seth didn't want people to be able to just buy them and flip them on the market, so he kind of increased the price enough just so that he hoped that wouldn't happen. And to be fair, I don't think many people have been flipping this bottle, so I was lucky enough to get a sample from a good buddy of mine named Colin. But let's get right into the first sample of Dettling here. Let's warm up our palates a little bit. Let's talk about it. Let's move on to the hotter versions and the older versions, and then eventually we'll get to that Gold Top and just see how good it really is. Now on the nose here, good amount of chocolate, good amount of cherry on this one. Definitely some honey, definitely a good amount of leather, tobacco spice on this one. Yeah, overall, it smells pretty good. Definitely smelling that coffee out of this one. A really nice richness on it. I mean, it smells good. Let's try it. Wow, pure coffee. I mean, my god, I have never had whiskey like that before. Besides the first time I did a Dettling review, which was actually one of the very first reviews on this channel. So if you want to see just how much videos have changed over the course of about 5-6 months, check out my first part of Dettling. I think it was probably my third or fourth review ever. I mean, man, this is super different from pretty much anything on the market. You're looking at some cherries in there, but a good amount of coffee. I mean, this is something that you really can't give to a novice whiskey drinker. They're just not going to enjoy it. They're going to think this is just like pure heat oakiness. But if you really get into it and you really get that coffee out of it, you really get these kinds of red cherries out of it. Almost like chocolate strawberries on it as well. Kind of what I heard the Gold Top described as. I mean, you're still getting this here on the 52-month. And like I said, I mean, 4-year whiskey shouldn't usually be all that good, but Alabama is so hot, and so you're getting a lot of age maturation happening very quickly. And this is just because when you have hotter temperatures in general, you also have more volatile temperatures that are, the highs to the lows every single day is much greater. And so you have whiskey going in and out of the barrel a lot more, and that's really what's aging whiskey. And so in a state like Alabama or Texas, 3-4-year-old whiskey can be as good as 6 to 8-year whiskey in Kentucky, which is as good as 20-year-old whiskey in Canada. So, I've done a lot of Found North reviews recently with some very old whiskey, and I mean, this tastes really just as old, and it's a quarter as old. So, anyways here, I mean, it's very solid. There is a good amount of spice on this one as well. This isn't anything I'd go crazy over, but I think this is the kind of thing that you really want to have one bottle on your shelf. Let's take a second sip here, and let's move on to the new Era pick. It's good. It's good. It's nothing special. It's something absolutely amazing. But it's actually incredibly smooth. There isn't really a roughness around there. The oakiness there is really nice. A nice leather. Really nice kind of chocolate-covered strawberries on that one. A really nice oak on that one. Spice on that one. I think it is slightly light. Definitely drinking around 115 proof. But that's okay. And that's really good here. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this right now. I'm going to rate this as 7.7. Which is a very high rating for a 4-year-old whiskey. Probably one of the highest that I've given. I think when I first had a Dettling, I had around a 60 month, and it was a 7.9. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely slightly worse, but yeah, still very, very good. But let's move on to the new Era pick, and then we'll try the good old Gold Top. So, as stated previously, this is 62 months old. And if we see here on the bottle, I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous bottling. This is my first bottle of Dettling that I own, so, you know, a fun part about being in these bourbon groups is that they do barrel picks, and then you get to own the barrel picks and try all these great single barrels. And so, I mean, if you see here, the Binders, the River Roots, the Mayor Pingree, I already have so many of the new Era picks, and I really haven't found one that I've totally disliked. So, really excited to see this here. Also on the nose, much richer than this on the 52 month. Yeah, the 52 month was just much more straightforward with like a really nice coffee on it. Whereas this is giving me, you know, if you really get in there, it gets into that coffee, but on the forefront, a much richer, deeper oak. A good amount more vanilla, actually. Yeah, I mean, it's really nice. Maple on this one as well. Definitely some good like honeysuckle on this. Like honeysuckle, honeycomb on this one. Really nice sweetness on this one. A lot more sweetness than I was expecting. Still though, really strong chocolate. Like a nice Godiva chocolate on this one. There isn't a ton of fruitiness. I mean, there's a little bit of like melon on it, but really nothing else. Not a ton of red fruit or anything. And yeah, I mean, that coffee note is definitely getting more and more into it. Now, I've left all these open for about 30 to 40 minutes. I've been told that you really need to let them open up, and so that's what I've been trying to do here. And I'm still swirling the glass a lot because I want to get it to open up. Want to get all those good flavors. Let's try it. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's actually surprisingly different from the 52 month. The 52 month on the palate just gave me pure coffee. Very straightforward coffee. This one is actually much fruitier and chocolatier. Like, I'm getting a ton more chocolate on this one. But honestly, not too much else. And to be fair, I mean, a pure chocolate bomb on a whiskey, I mean, that's a unique enough whiskey to keep on your shelf. Like, I don't have anything like this. I'm happy that I have this bottle. But, I don't know. I mean, definitely not blowing me away on that first sip here. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's very good. Let's take a second sip. Okay. On that sip, I got a lot more. For some reason, that first sip, maybe it was the water, was very straightforward and just kind of pure chocolate. There I got nice leather, nice chocolate, nice strawberry, a little bit of that melon, a good amount of that honey, vanilla that I was getting on the nose. Overall, I mean, that's a great pour of whiskey. I think for $100, that's solid. That's the kind of bottle you buy two of, you enjoy one, and then, you know, you crack the second, you enjoy that second. You know, you're not going to be devastated that it's gone. It's not that amazing, but it's a bottle that you honestly want multiples of. That's really nice. Now, I will hold off on rating this. I am going to go to the Gold Top first. We're going to see how the Gold Top is. Then we'll come back to the new Era because, you know, I expected the 52-month to not really compare, and I think that 62-month is definitely a lot better on that new Era. But the 82-month, I mean, we got old. I didn't have a 72-month sample, else I would have thrown it in as well. I have tried a 72-month. I think the first Dettling video was a 72 or 73 month, so there you go. I've now tried in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. But let's try this 80. I believe it's the oldest Dettling that they've ever done. And let's see just how good it really is. So Seth himself said that this is the whiskey to not get unless you really like Dettling. Wow. I'll be honest, on the nose, it's not super different. I mean, I think side by side, there's almost like a graininess on the 62-month that I wasn't really getting beforehand. Kind of just showing how much more depth you can get with 20 extra months in that kind of heat. Yeah, chocolate-covered strawberries, a nice vanilla cream on this. Really nice molasses as well that I wasn't really getting on anything else. Still getting the coffee on that one. Very strong coffee note. Leather, spice, definitely some oak on there, some sweet oak on there. Wow, that's nice. I mean, there's almost like a plum custard as well in there, like a really nice, it's not just like a pure dark berry, but it's almost like a custard kind of dark berry. Wow. That smells incredible. Let's try it. Okay. That's a good pour whiskey. That's a really good pour whiskey. I will say, it's not firing on all fronts. It's not hitting me with a ton of potency. Definitely would have liked to see this ramped up a little bit. Obviously, this is cask strength. I think just naturally his stuff is going to be around 115 proof. And it could just be, I mean, this is relatively a neck pour. I mean, this is just naturally, the first, second day it was open. He sent me a sample. That's how I'm able to do this review relatively soon, since this bottle just released like about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, very good here. Not blowing me away. I will say, I mean, this, some people have said, like, oh, Dettling Gold Tops are like, George's T Stag level, and I'm not going to say it's that good. I like it. I think it's very solid, but I'm also going to look at this through the lens of a bottle that is $250. I mean, this is not a bottle that, oh, it's good for what it is. Oh, I like it. Oh, people should have this on the shelf. No, $250 gets into premium territory in my eyes. Expectation is an 8 at minimum. I mean, if you're not an 8 and you're a $250 bottle, you are basically a stinker on the shelf, and you should totally be avoided. Now, this is not a stinker on the shelf. This is definitely in the 8s, but I think, the kinds of lens that you look at whiskeys that are $100 versus $250 are just naturally going to be a lot different. And that's kind of why I like doing the rating system, because it gives me that objective line where I may talk very negatively about something that's like an 8.5 and very positively about something that's a 7.5, but that's because that 7.5, I'm really impressed because it's a $30, $40 bottle. I expected a lot less, whereas that 8.5, I may have expected a 9, or I may have expected a 9.5 because it's a $1,000 bottle, and so 8.5 is really disappointing. And so I'm much more negative, although it's still a objectively much better whiskey than that 7.5. Anyways, I digress. Maybe I'll do a video one day explaining my scale a little bit more in depth. But anyways, and this is clearly in the 8s. I don't know if it's going to get to the high 8s, though. Let's take a second sip here. Okay. I like the new Era. It took that second sip to really get to me. There's so much going on with that. Oh my god. So, there's a really rich red currant going through it, from the front palate all the way through the end. Like, there's really strong kind of red flavor to it. That cherry kind of note on it. But like a nice red cherry. Like, not a black cherry, maraschino cherry, just pure red cherry. But that is kind of one element in a pie of, you clearly have some darker fruits in there. You clearly have plum, this cooked blackberry note, this really deep, darker fruits on it. You also have the spice. You have nutmeg, you have cinnamon, you have kind of your good old baking spices as well. You have all that coming on. And then you have this leather. This really nice leather comes out towards the end. But in the front palate, it's much more like a sweet oak, like a vanilla sweet oak honey. Wow. I mean, wow. Okay. That's really nice. That's really, really nice. Yeah, I wish I had a bottle of that. I mean, that is just so, so good. Yeah, that's serious. Now, I don't know what secondary on this bottle is going to be because we haven't really seen a secondary on it, which is for better or for worse. But it seems like many people, people are really only able to get one of this bottle. Actually, in fact, all people that ordered 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles actually had all of their orders canceled. They didn't even get one. They got 0 bottles. This may or may not happen to a certain somebody that really likes samples and thought that he could get 2 and then sample them out. And now they have none, and they just have the new Era pick, but that's okay. No, this is really, really nice, though. I mean, very delicious. Clearly, Dettling knows what they're doing here. Yeah, I mean, super, super rich. I think I'll take this last sip here. I'll give it a rating. We'll go back to the new Era. We'll give that a rating. Or maybe we should rate the new Era first. We'll rate the new Era first here. We'll see just what we think, and then we'll go back. That Gold Top's a good bit better. Now, we said that was a 7.7. I'm thinking this is going to be high 7s. Let's see. It's good. It's good. Over time, it's definitely becoming more leathery. Definitely becoming more tobacco forward. I think you really have to like that tobacco, that leather, that richness on it to really like that pick. I think the first one was much more coffee forward, and there was a little bit of fruit in there, kind of gave you a lot there. I think that gold top also really going to give you those like chocolate strawberries and all that good stuff to it. That New Era pick is pure tobacco, pure leather, pure spice, a little bit of the coffee, a little bit of the fruit, but I mean, that is Dettling to its extreme, and it's good. It's good. I don't know how often I'll go back to it just because, I mean, that is not typically the flavor profile that I like, but I'm very glad I have the bottle. This is like fat-looking bottle here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and rate that an 8.1. I don't think it's utterly exceptional. I don't think it's a bottle that you absolutely have to have, but for $100, I'm very glad. I have two, and very happy with two on that one. Very, very solid. And value-wise, it may be beating this gold top. Definitely not objectively better than the gold top. Definitely not that close, but let's take another sip of this gold top here, and let's give it a rating. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, I mean, chocolate strawberries, honeysuckle, really getting that kind of pie custard as well on it as time goes on. That kind of almost like a creme brulee brown sugar on it. But so much fruit on it and still enough leather tobacco. That is an incredibly complex whiskey. I mean, really, you know, there's a lot of whiskey out there that's punchy, that's powerful, that's 140 proof, and as somebody that likes hazmat whiskey, I tend to lean towards those whiskeys, even if they're less complex, because they have so much potency on it. But this whiskey, I mean, wow. Let's take this final sip here and let's give it a rating. It's delicious. It's delicious. I think, unlike that New Era pick, the 62 month, this one here, it gives you that same tobacco, that leather, maybe slightly less of it, but it also comes back with this really strong strawberry, that red cherry on it as well. It has that darker fruit in there, a little bit of the blackberry, the raspberry, the blueberry. It's giving you the really nice sweetness of the sweet oak, the vanilla, the honeysuckle, the maple on it. There's so much going on in that whiskey. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. I don't know if I would say it's better than George C. Stagg. I think it would take a side-by-side blind, but that's an 8.5. That's incredible. For $250, that's definitely a buy. For $500, it gets a lot tougher. And I don't know what the secondary market will be on it. It could be $500, it could be $400, it could be $300, it could be $600. I think if it's $300, $350, not really much more than MSRP, I would pay that. I think if it starts getting to the $400 territory, unless you really like Dettling, I think if you're a big Dettling fan, that is by far the best Dettling I've ever had. I've had now 3, and then 1 in the last video, and then I've tried 1 between that. So I've tried 5 different Dettlings. By far the best one here is this gold top. Not even close. New Era, probably my second favorite. Really solid, very unique for what it is. Would have obviously liked a barrel that had a little bit more of that red cherry or the chocolate strawberries or all that good stuff here. But yeah, I mean, this one has it all. It has all the flavor notes you could want out of Dettling. At least the ones that I know about. I mean, maybe there's so much more that other people get out of Dettling. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments what you guys think. Overall, gold top, very, very solid. I think value-wise, these are pretty even. I think $100 for this bottle, $250 for this bottle. Is it 2.5 times better? Hard to say, but it's not far off from 2.5 times. So yeah, I think either is a good buy. I'm glad I have this bottle for $100. Sad I don't have the gold top, but for those that enjoy the gold top, definitely let me know down below in the comments what you guys think. If you have a Dettling, let me know what you guys think. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.